Happy Friday, happy Friday. How's everybody doing out there tonight? It's your boy, Coach Lee's. Another Friday night. You know what that means? We bring you an exclusive, exciting interview. And just like last week, I'm get it again this week. We have a fellow alumni from the Duncanville Panthers, City of Champions for those that don't know. And we're going to show you how we do it big. So before we get started, Uncle Leroy, what's up, player?
Hey man, look, I'm all good on this Friday. I'm rested. You know what? This is day 1, 2 of our 30-day hiatus, and we stay coming with these hot exclusive interviews today, man. We got one of your people. What's good?
Hey, it was always good with somebody that I know. So we're going to bring him into the fold. The one, the only, Chris Owens. What's up, man?
What's going on? How y'all doing?
We got to clap it up for you.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Appreciate you jumping on with us. Been a while, but we definitely going to catch up. So how things going for you so far tonight?
Oh, they're going pretty good. Slowly getting sports back going, so everything's all good.
Oh, yeah. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Favorite sport you like? Is it obvious or some, secondary sport?
Man, I'm a sports lover, but I love basketball as my number one. But, man, I love football. I love some football. So, but I'm a sports lover, so I like it all.
Okay. So, if anybody don't know, I've been knowing this young man. Been a while now. I know him back when he was in high school. So, definitely looking forward to catching up with you. So, we just going to jump right in it. So, for a lot of people that don't know, Chris is a former national basketball player. Shout out to Rio CBD. Appreciate you. And for me, it's special because I knew from where you came to being focused and having a dream, going through that process, and then achieving that goal to being a professional basketball player. So it was a cool journey for me from the outside looking in. But we're going to look into it a little deeper to see what the experience was like for you.
Okay, we can get into that.
So I know you haven't already, always been 6'8", which I think was your playing height. So at what point of time did you start playing basketball? What made you interested in the game?
I say around 11 to 12, I really started playing, and my mom got me into it to get me a little bit more social. I'm an introvert and a quiet kid, so just something to get me out the house and get me into it. And I just fell in love with it.
I never would have known that.
I cried in high school.
Wait. So did you fall in love until, or was it mom was like, hey, you better go outside and play basketball?
No, she didn't have to do that. She just like, we didn't have a goal. I didn't have a goal growing up, and then they put one in, and I just started playing every day. That was just something I just did.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just something I just did.
Now, it's interesting. So you said that you're an introvert.
Yeah.
You played a team sport. And I don't know if it still is, but at one point in time, you had one of the largest high school campuses in the U.S. So you had to interact with people at some point in time. So is that something you always just hated going through that process, or you just grit and bear and just did it?
I don't know. I just... But I think by the time I was in high school, I kind of found my groove a little bit as far as like, me and my, some other boys, we talk about, I'm like, man, high school, we was some lames, say we we wasn't going no clubs, like we wasn't doing that. So we just played basketball, and talked. I mean, that's all we did, pretty much. But that was cool with me because at the time that was what I wanted to do.
Hey man, we didn't see y'all as lame. Y'all just part of the tradition,
Yeah.
If at Duncanville, if you played a sport, that's what you live.
Right.
And it was even to the point, it was very seldom that you got to play several sports. Because usually you had a sport, you had to pick that sport year round.
Oh, that's what you did.
Oh wow.
Yeah, for serious. I only knew maybe about 2 or 3 people the whole time I was there. And it was usually like football and track, 2 different seasons, or football and baseball. But I don't know of anybody that did basketball and football.
Nah, wow. that was rare. Because at Duncanville, sports was like a little junior college, so
it was
serious about it. and they still are.
They still
you can tell because we've had some, past. We had an Olympian on here. Shout out to the robot, and it was said about you got to make sacrifice. And I'm hearing that it sounds like Dunkerville is breeding that at a young age because shout out to Kevin Doggins. He made the same thing. Like it just sounds like that's just ingrained in the culture. So do you think that is?
I believe it because it's when you like looking at life, because right now I coach at Bishop Dunn, the boys basketball team, and I try to tell the players like life goes by extremely fast the older you get. So when you at an age, that age, you need to figure out what you want to do. And like I told a parent the other day, she was like, well, in our household, school comes first. I said, well, school comes first. He don't have to play basketball. But if you want to play basketball, let him play basketball. Like don't come at me because you never know what a kid could do. And at the end of the day, if you're gonna make your mind up to do it, then do it. So I feel like definitely was a culture there, and I'm appreciative of it.
That's some great advice. You just know that was a
wow.
That was the hot sports opinion you just threw off on us there.
Oh, she didn't like that though, but I mean,
right. I want to know how she walked off. Did she roll her eyes from the front to the back?
Oh, yeah. It's so real because it's like a lot of times a day we coddle these kids and we babying them, and I'm like nobody's giving you nothing in life, especially when you look at the kids 13, 14. I'm like, nah, you if you want to hoop, you want to play a sport, whatever you want to do, you need to figure that out now and start doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So sooner rather than later.
Well, what age do you recommend then?
I think
that they have to come in and form that, because I was a park ball. I started 6th grade. I started playing park ball about 6th grade. I was playing all of them: basketball, baseball, track. So what age do you think kids should actually hone in and figure out what they want to do?
I think it's not a particular age. I think it's when you see the kid gravitate towards something and he takes a liking to it. So like if you got kids, that's why I think kids should be so exposed. So, a great deal of my career, I was in Europe and I wasn't exposed to soccer like that growing up. Like it was over here, it's football, basketball, baseball, but over in Europe, soccer is a predominant sport. So I think exposing kids to as much sports you can, and when you see them take a liking to it, just roll with that. And I think like less time on TV and more time. They need to have more time, just outside playing sports. And so I don't think it's a particular age. I just think it's when you see them starting to gravitate towards a particular sport.
Definitely makes sense.
Some good stuff. Thank you.
So you definitely are speaking from experience. So what were some of the obstacles, that you had to overcome?
I think the biggest obstacle is with sports is learning how to be mentally, is learning how to think mentally, being able to adapt, because every time, like when people say, like you hear the stories about Michael Jordan not making a high school team but a lot of stuff we create. So I think the biggest stuff that you have to overcome is being able to, be able to control your mind with things. So as a coach, I'm big on being able to mentally train your mind. So like, I had the stories where, I didn't have this or we didn't have that or I didn't make this team, but everybody has obstacles. So I'm more into, how you train your mind about it. So the biggest obstacles for me probably were losing my dad at an early age, and feeling like, with my family, I had to kind of take on that burden of being the man early on. So those are that's what drove me in a lot of ways.
So, all right, you brought up a good point about, being as a coach, you like to train these kids' mind, especially, with this living during this pandemic with COVID, a lot of Zoom and virtual meetings. So do you think that works to the favor of this mental toughness?
I don't, because, just to be blunt, man, kids and some of these parents look at me they want me to tell them what to do. But when I grew up, nobody told me how to practice. I went outside and I was out there 4 or 5 hours. I watched the tapes. I record Michael Jordan on VHS tape, watch Come Fly Me. Then I go out there and try to do what I saw. And because we just growing up in a different time that you shouldn't need that. So when it comes to virtual learning and stuff, as far as sports, I'm old school. I'm like, if you should go out there and work on your own game. But I get it. You got to still coach and train and teach. But I think, what's lost in the game is the ability to go out there and just create on your own. Everybody's doing everything everybody else is doing the game. Now everybody shoot threes, so everybody do it. So it's like there's no creativity with it.
Right, to your point, because I posted in a group, shout out to everyone in Sports Talk with Friends, to an old clip of Michael Jordan doing a jelly roll. Do you know the figure roll? Yep. Who does that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't see that. That's like a lost art, in this game. So good point. Wow.
It is lost art. I believe that.
Everybody either want to shoot the threes or do the high flying dunks uncontested.
Right. Copycat league.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Shout out to the NBA. Shout out to you, Shula, because, she was saying how the WNBA, they play a lot of hustle and defense. And, that's not something you see anymore in the NBA.
No, you don't. And I think because, the women's game is kind of like how it was in Europe. Europe was a lot harder in a lot of ways because you had to be so much more fundamentally sound. And in the NBA, the problem with kids, they look at a guy like Giannis and they think, well, I can do it. Giannis can jump off the wrong foot. He can do this and that, but he's so gifted that it doesn't matter. And then when you look at the WNBA, the women kind of have to be more fundamentally sound to have a lot of the same success. Definitely
agree. Now, speaking to the being fundamental, now we were talking earlier about, you very seldom could play two different sports. Yeah. I remember we always, people that tried to play football to go into the basketball season, you had to go through tryouts. But they was already like 2-3 weeks in the practice already at that point in time. And I saw so many people get cut on the first cut. I saw one dude, I ain't gonna mention him because he might be watching. He got cut twice because he didn't feel like he got a fair chance. But you get cut if you don't come in ready to rock and roll at that point. Dudes, who couldn't do the correct layup off of either hand, right foot, you got boom. Appreciate you. Thanks for playing. Now go to all season.
That's how it was.
That's a dog. That's a dog-eat-dog world right there.
Oh, man. But the thing about it to me, like I still remember growing up playing at Crawford Park. I was there. I felt like every day, and then especially on Sundays, I get there early, play all night. You just couldn't dominate unless you had fundamental and skill. Like you just couldn't. Guys wanted it a lot more, in my opinion, back then.
Yeah, Crawford Park. That was legendary on this side of town.
Oh, I'm telling
many
you.
great battles. I'm seeing.
Oh yeah,
Oliver Miller out there, Kurt Thomas.
Everybody should be out there.
All right, hold on. So shout out to Rio CBD. Thanks for hanging out. He said, I tried out for all the sports my freshman year. After that, I realized I wasn't meant for sports. So I mean, Chris, so the people like this, what would you tell them? Like, they try out, they figure out sports not for them. Like, how would you encourage them? Because you said that how would they figure out that it's not for them? What would you say to Rio?
I would say, life is so much more worth living when you're able to embrace it for what it is. When you kind of go in life being a little rigid, thinking it should be like this and be like that, which we all do, that creates more hardship. So, it could be in all kind of capacities. Like, it doesn't mean sports might not be for you. It may mean sports may be for you in a different way. And the reality is that you blessed to play, but it's also a curse because, I miss being able to play basketball. So being involved, somebody asked me, what is it like retiring? What do you miss most about basketball? And I told them, I said, honestly, I miss the guys in the locker room cutting up, telling jokes, just that part of the game. You don't have that no more. So, when somebody says like Rio saying, he realized sports wasn't meant for him, there's so many people involved in sports nowadays and everybody gets to enjoy it. like I enjoy my fantasy football team. Like, you know what I mean? Like
well, you need to play in our league because you won't enjoy that. You're gonna lose.
Yeah.
We're very competitive, but exactly.
Yeah. That's what it is.
And to your point, they got different, like we're in sports podcasts right now,
Right.
So, I'm a band guy. Who would have thought that? So, real CBD, he like, 100. So, that was real talk.
Man?
So, speaking of competitors, so without getting you in trouble, who's your hardest competitor?
Man, that's tough because, I remember that's tough. Zaja Green was tough. I mean,
hey, hold on. Shout out to my dudes out at me.
I saw him the other day. I remember first time I went to Bucket Park, he was up there giving buckets. So but I played against a lot of good guys, a lot of great players over the years. So toughest competitor. Ooh, that's a tough one. That's too tough to say because I played against so many good guys.
I understand.
Got the call.
Z might be tuning in, so we might have to get him out here, because now you didn't put that out because he was on. We did an interview with him before, but yes, sir. But now since you put him out there, we got to put him back out here.
Z, I remember. This is crazy. I remember I was in high school, and I remember I asked Coach McGuire, the assistant coach of the team, I said, how come this man is not playing Major D1 or the NBA? I really said that because when you're younger, who's doing work, that's what you see. That's what you know. And I remember thinking that. I remember that man could play, and he was a killer out there. So, and I was young. So, yeah, I remember those days. And that's why I say it's so hard because, man, so many good guys that could. Baron was a killer. Baron Davis.
Yeah.
He was.
I'm gonna assault you with BD. Now Baron Davis came to the Hornets.
Yeah.
I'm gonna assault it. I'm gonna assault how he did it, man. I'm ready to put next. Let's go to the next question.
Why?
That dude played hurt till he got a trade and then balled out. He reminded me of Michael Thomas. He's right, exactly.
But he can play though. He can. He can make a play.
Facts. I was a big fan of him until.
So being an alumni of the greatest high school on the planet,
right?
So what was your experience like as a player there?
Man, it was good. My experience was, I was following, some great teams coming in. So the 7th and 8th grade team, the class ahead of me in the class 2, they never lost a game in the 7th and 8th grade. And they didn't lose a game. So I was like, my experience was like that was the standard. So they set that standard so high. So me going to, I looked at it as a failure not making varsity as a freshman. So it was one of those things where it was like it was such a high standard at Duncanville that it was a pretty cool thing because you knew the level of expectation. Because when we played pickup back in the day, all the older guys would come back. Greg Ostertag, Marvin Bell,
Robert Ringo.
You wouldn't know who would be in our gym. And our gyms it would be packed over there in the dungeon in the summertime.
Yep.
Yeah, it'd be. And guys being playing. So, it was just a level of expectation that your experience was based off of. Just you knew what it was.
Just talking from the best, arguably the best guy in Duncanville. I see some clip on you. You know what I'm saying? Like you talking about it. He's like, well, yeah, it's some good guys over there, but well played, sir. Well played.
You're right.
So you have mentioned about going overseas and what the atmosphere was like over there. So coming into that new environment, especially being an introvert, what was that experience like for you?
It was good because I'm a history major, so having a degree in history and I originally wanted to go to law school, that was my plan. It was good because you got to like be around different cultures and understand. You know, it was an experience. You know, and it was an experience that helped you grow because you know even what America's going through right now is revealing to real life. So like now with everything going on with racism, everything is going on with just culture. I mean, I think it's being able to travel is always going to broaden your horizons and it'll make you a better person.
Definitely agree with that.
Good stuff.
So, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I want to ask you because you played overseas. So we had Corgi Cox, shout out to him. He also played overseas as well. But one thing that they were making a comparison to is Finland basketball. They were saying like areas like Finland has better basketball than the U.S. And I see that you had the opportunity to play out there in Finland.
Yeah, I played in Finland for a while. I think I see what they're saying.
I wasn't expecting that. Wow. Like, because we hear like the NBA is the best of the best, So yeah, please tell us how we compare.
Well, it's like this: the NBA is a business, and the NBA is built on how I explain it. The NBA is built on individual players. So if you go watch the Lakers play, you're going to see LeBron and Anthony Davis. If you go watch the Mavericks playing, you're going to see Luka. Because it's built on a business, your business model is going to only allow so much team basketball. So with it being like that, he has to get superstar calls. These players, because that's the business model of the NBA. If you go watch a game in Europe, you're not going to watch individual players. You're going to watch a team. So automatically it's going to be from a competitive level, it's going to be more competitive from the sense of there's not going to be no swing with calls or superstar calls. It's all the same. So it's all based on the game. And that's why a guy like Luka Doncic can come over here and be successful because he's so accustomed to not getting calls. He's so accustomed to a certain level of intensity. He's so accustomed to competing in a different way that, at the end of the day, and it goes both ways. The NBA is going to be – it's impossible to play 82 games and just, be out there, going all – you can't play hard. You can't play full speed 82 games. It's impossible. But you can 40 like you were doing in Europe. And that's what you're going to do. So in Europe, when you playing, 40-something games, and they're going to all be more competitive. So I think the NBA it's a business at the end of the day. So that's why that's why people call the NBA soft, I think, nowadays. They call it soft or they have to do this. It's first a business. Like the NFL. NFL people want to see more points. They don't want to see, 10-7 football games. So.
Fantasy football lives matter. Yes, this matters. I want to see points.
It do. I can get a quarterback off the waiver wire and be all right nowadays.
Hey, my man, we got to get you in our league, man.
Hey, I'm down. I mean, just think about a couple years ago, about 5 or 6 years ago, fantasy. I mean, if you didn't have one of them top 7 quarterbacks, you were struggling.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Now you can go get Minshew out the waiver wire and you all right.
Okay, look, you want to play. You say you enjoy sports. He dropping nuggets all across the board. Hey, y'all playing in our league. Don't listen to that now. Don't listen to that.
I got
you. Want to lose.
I got you.
But yeah, that's some good stuff, man. Like for real. Wow. That's and like you can tell you explain that because I understand how you put it. The way you put it is like, it's a business, and so these guys are getting all these points, all these highlights because it's structured that way. So
yeah, exactly. Wow. It's set up like that.
Wow.
Mm.
So as a coach now, as you had mentioned earlier, how do you compare, your preparation or even the environment or the mentality of being a coach versus a player?
you got to be a lot more. I think the biggest difference is you have to be a lot more. You got to think in terms of everybody, every kid. Whereas as a player, you're only concerned about you. That's your job. And then I'm coaching at the high school level, so I got to be very conscious of where all the players are at mentally. So like, from a coaching perspective, I always said if I become a coach, I'm not going to just coach one way. And I tell the guys, hey, look, I'm not going to talk to everybody the same. Everybody's individual. So the one thing I didn't like is, from some coaches where they wouldn't talk and conduct themselves in a certain way that was respectful. So for me, I'm gonna talk to you. And I always tell the guy, look, I'm gonna talk to you straight up. I'm not gonna try to. I don't have a style of trying to yell at you to get you to do something. If I'm raising my voice, I mean it. It's not tactful. I just mean it that moment. You know what I mean? So I think the biggest thing for me as a coach, you got to always be conscious of the whole group. So and I'm constantly trying to get guys to work together as a team. And it's tough at times. It's tough.
I can definitely imagine that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Coach Hill. He's a coach of men's professional team, and he said one of his challenges was to get the guys' respect at a professional level because it's like you meet a guy like, okay, I'm a grown man. Look, you can't tell me anything. So how do you deal with that at a high school level? Because I was a teacher, and them kids tell me that, I'd be like, hey. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, look, you might not get this at home, but in here. But so how do you do that?
I think
it's still being tactful.
I mean, I think you definitely have to have your standard and how you set the culture. And you want to. I try to go pretty sharp from the beginning. So the setting the culture is the biggest thing. And then two, some players, sometimes you gotta let players go. If they you can't get everybody to do what you want to do. In your system. So you just basically got to be firm and say, this is it. This is how we're going to do stuff. So in my program, the biggest thing is playing hard with effort all the time and having a good attitude. Because as a coach, I can live with that. If you're playing hard, you got a good attitude, I can live with that. If you're not playing hard, I can't stand that. If you have a bad attitude, I really can't stand that. So, I can live with the other stuff, but I can't live with you not playing hard and having an attitude.
I'm with you, the teacher. I'm telling you, I couldn't take that.
No, I can't stand it.
So on this thing. So, as a teacher, we have a light bulb moment. So, we're teaching, I'm putting 1 + 1 is 2 when these kids light bulb coming on. So as a coach,
right.
what is your coaching moment? Like maybe the warm and fuzzies when you're coaching.
When I see players coaching and pushing each other. So when I see a player receive what I'm saying and he's able to implement it, whether it's through playing or talking to his other teammates, for me that's a coaching thing, because so much in life these kids think it's supposed to be a certain way. Life, especially boys, is about learning how to figure it out. If I got to tell you everything, then you ain't getting it. You know what I mean? So I think for me, my coaching moment is when they take it and they run with it.
Wow. Agreed.
Think about growing up, all I needed was a VHS and a basketball hoop. That's all I had. I was going to the pressing the rewind button, watching it, looking at it, going outside, doing it. Wasn't nobody spoon feeding me nothing like that.
Look, that's what I would tell you. I learned how to play the trombone in the backyard. Me and the dog hollering. I'm playing. My uncle, he respected my mom because after that I got a scholarship.
Exactly.
Learned on. You taught yourself. You had the will, and you did it. I'm with you. So I'm mad that I see. Oh, you got an abbreviation. You got skipped to this kind of
no. Oh yeah, it's a different world nowadays. It's a different world.
Everybody wants a golden ticket.
Everybody wants it just to be laid out for them, and life don't work like that.
They don't want to earn a living anymore. They want to email. They want to tag Instagram. You know what I'm saying? They want to tag.
Exactly. That's real though. That's real.
So since you've been a coach, what motivates you as far as that profession is concerned? Because you've been an athlete, student athlete, scholarship athlete, professional player. Now you're a coach. So you've gone through that natural progression. So again, what motivates you the most now?
I think what motivates me the most now is, being able to give back to kids, because I'm in high school. So my motivation with them is, like I tell, look, I'm not trying to coach you to be NBA players. I'm coaching you because I want you to take away tools that'll help you become a man of life. So for me, seeing, being able to be an influence in young men's lives and to becoming men is what motivates me.
Shout out to Trevor. He's got a good point.
Yeah,
they feel entitled and look at YouTube and think they know everything.
Trevor, that's the culture.
Exactly. And as being a programmer, I get infuriated about sending YouTube links, because what you're doing is programming them what to do, like a robot. That's it. You're not thinking. I'm telling you, that's the way to get me upset now. What happened to reading the instructions, figuring it out? So hey, shout out to you, Des. I see you hanging out with us.
Everything is spoon fed now. But like I say, I was looking forward to the interview. I wish it didn't have to end. But before we wrap it up, what's a fun fact about you?
Man, that's a good question. A fun fact about me. A what?
I see you got him thinking. Well, okay. Wait. No.
I like man, probably a fun fact on me is that I like to read. Like I like to read. That's a lost art nowadays.
Man, hey, look. For real.
Yeah, I like to learn. I like to learn.
Do you think you get your work ethic and your ability to be competitive from your famous relative?
I think that has something to do with it. I think, wanting to reflect a sense of excellence like he did definitely is a motivator. So I think that plays a role.
And for those that don't know, you want to share who that is?
Oh, my great uncle is Jesse Owens. He won 4 gold medals in 1936.
You gotta say that with your chest. You was like, 4 gold medals. And spoken as a, like a family of a true Olympian, that's a competitive nature. It's like you didn't win them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
that's greatness.
Yeah, wow. He won them.
You played in Berlin, right?
Yeah, I did play a year in Alba.
So what was that like? Did anybody ask you the resemblance to the last name or anything like that?
I mean, they did. It was, I mean, they kind of pumped it up a little bit before I got there. So, it was cool. It was cool because, I got to actually see where his name is still in the Olympic Stadium, and they got a lounge in the Olympic Stadium named Jesse Owens Lounge, and so it was pretty cool. It was a cool experience.
That's real cool because I always knew you as Michael's little brother.
I know.
But hey, man, we definitely appreciate you jumping in here with us today. As always, we have fun doing this. To be able to make that connection from the members in our group, the fans of sports, and like Uncle Leroy said earlier, it's not necessarily you having to be able to play a sport. You can be a spectator, you can be a trainer, you can be a player, you can be a coach. There's other ways that you can contribute in order to be passionate about a particular sport.
Right. Allow sports to be effective. Allow us to do its thing what it's here for. Everyone to have fun because we seen what happened when sports wasn't here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like everyone talks that noise. Right.
Looking at
Oh yeah. I mean, at least sports it means so much to culture, the community. So I mean, I definitely agree with that. And I appreciate you guys for having me on. I definitely like what you guys are doing. I mean, it's really positive and we need more of this. So I'm definitely appreciate what you guys doing.
Thank you. Appreciate
Thank
you as well.
But
Any shout outs to anybody?
Before we let you go, you visited my hometown, New Orleans. What was your favorite dish down there? Did you get a chance to eat?
I mean, I don't know if it really count, but I'm always on them shrimp, and I get the shrimp and oyster po' boy.
Hey, you got your New Orleans card today, man.
Hey, I'm missing New Orleans food now. I mean, I missed it, man. I mean, I think we used to go to. It was a spot. I think it was called Copeland's. I think they got one. One. Yeah, we used to go there. That was a little staple. But the food, like I always got the shrimp oyster po' boy, but I was gumbo. That was my to go. So yeah, I miss that food, man. You bringing back memories right now. Yeah, I miss it though.
Awesome. But one last thing. So you had a very broad career, professional basketball, but you had the opportunity to play in Turkish ball. What was that like? Just being in that environment.
Man, it was weird. Shoot, the first day, it was.
Wait, can you pronounce the name? Because I couldn't pronounce the name. I'm public school smart, so I just tore it up. Like the name of the team, it was
Galatasaray. Galatasaray. Yeah, it was Galatasaray. Yeah, that was the jersey up there. But it was my first day there. I was in the hotel, and some Kurdish soldiers got killed at the border, and so they started protesting. They was protesting, and they had bottles that they had a little thing with the cloth. Yeah, and they
cocktail.
Yeah, the cocktails, and man, they was throwing them right below my hotel. So I'm looking out the window, and I see them doing this. Man, I called my agent. I was like, I can't do this. Like, I was like, man,
that sounds like Hotel Rwanda. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, I was like, man, because I didn't know what they was going. I didn't know if they was going inside. I didn't know that. I didn't know what they was protesting. So I was just like, man, I was like, I ain't feeling this. Like, and I was like, man, but like you get used to that. Like, it's weird, but you do, because that's the culture there. Even the fans, like when you say what's the difference, the fans in a warm country like Turkey or Greece, they're gonna be a lot more hostile than somebody like a country like Russia. Russia, everybody gonna be more, reserved and stuff like that. So you see it, you feel it.
Man.
This is mind blowing. Just here, it's like it's just a landmine up ahead. These guys, it's okay. You see a fire, it's okay. This is normal. What I'm saying?
But the biggest thing about humanity is we adapt. We adapt. Like it's like as an American, I remember one time, like I was home and then I went back over and my coach called me. He said, "You okay?" I said, "Why you say that? What's going on?" He said, "But I see there's tornadoes there in Texas. There's tornadoes." So in his mind, he thinking like
you're about to die.
Right. And I'm like,
no. But like you run points and watch these.
Yeah. That's the power, that's the influence of media. That's the influence that it can have on you. I mean, shoot, I went and voted today just so I could get it over with, man. Because everywhere you turn around and vote, I'm like, man, that's the influence. You know what I'm saying? Good or bad, it is what it is.
Clap that up, man. Good stuff.
There you go. Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Oh.
Any shout out you have for anybody out there?
Man, just shout out to everybody. I like to say, stay prayerful, stay positive, and keep doing what you do.
Most definitely. But baby, brother, we appreciate you. It's been a pleasure. It's been an honor, and hopefully, anytime. We'll take you up on that too.
I just want to see you on the fantasy football. You know what I'm saying?
I'm trying to get into that. Now I'm nice now, though.
Hey man, it's different. It's my first year playing in the big league, and I'm hearing like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Roster changes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, don't take that. See, this and this is what we do. Like, you might be good in that league. So when you come to sports talk with friends, we mute you. You got to win the game. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you, look, you know what? This was week 6. Week 6, a guy won his first game. You know what I'm saying? We don't play.
He just won his first game in week 6.
Hey man, we don't play. We don't play. He's out there in East Texas. He's out there in West Louisiana. You know what I'm saying? Put that out there.
But shout out to him.
I can't take it.
Yeah, it ain't no joke though. I mean, I'm fantasy is one of those things where you cannot. I mean, you got to have the tickers on your phone. Somebody, Antonio Brown get picked up to the Bucks. You need that for your phone.
Hey, right. I picked him up yesterday. I was strong. I was looking for him.
Oh man, and he just got through by the Bucks. Yeah. It's a wrap.
That's how we do. See how that we predict. That's what I'm saying. We already got them.
Yeah.
So, hey,
that's what's up though.
You seen that? What white man pump your Reeboks up, man? You coming to our league? Pump up, man.
I'm ready though. I'm ready. I'm telling you, I'm ready.
We gonna see.
Hey, brother. Uncle Leroy, you got any shout outs for us?
Hey man, look, you know what? I'm going back to enjoy this 30-day hiatus. We only came out, because we're on 30-day hiatus from all our shows just to do our interviews. So I'm going back to go fishing. You know what I'm saying?
I fish. I ain't mad at that.
So shout out to the crappies that's going out there to East Texas. So
oh yeah.
Dude, Uncle Leroy. Don't say the Leroy without the junior. What about you? Got any shout outs?
Hey, shout out to those looking. Shout out to Vegas. See you in 24 hours.